What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, you're watching 4K Motoring, and today we're going to talk about the top 5 mods I've done to my 2001 Corvette. So as I start this video, I want to make note that this is going to be predominantly for the manual transmission versions of the C5 Corvette. I'll be speaking about my 2001 in particular, but it should be applicable to all C5s and most C6s for that matter, since they're very similar platforms. So these are not going to be in any particular order, but I want to make notes of the 5 biggest modifications I've done to this car that have truly been worth doing and made a big difference in driving it. The first thing I'm going to start with is the backup camera and infotainment screen. This by far has to be one of the biggest improvements I've made to the car to bring it into the modern age, as well as be more usable on a daily basis. As you guys may know from my previous video, this is the Pioneer W4400 NEX, and it has a wireless Android Auto Apple CarPlay interface, as well as a backup camera. By far, this has to be one of the most useful things I've done to this car. I really enjoy this system. I feel like it did a good job of bringing it into the modern age, works well with modern cell phones, it's wireless, it doesn't require you to plug anything in, which is great, that very few even OEM vehicles have at this point. It allows you to have navigation played over the factory audio system right there on the screen in front of you. The backup camera is hugely needed in these cars, as the true visibility down low at the back end is almost non-existent, especially with these little side mirrors. So all in all, for the cost of the install and the easy install, this is one I would say you absolutely have to do. I'm going to leave a link up there on the top, show you the video of my install, just so you know what's involved. Not difficult at all, definitely something you can do on your own, definitely something you should do on your own. Next up on my list would certainly have to be these Corbeau seats. Now, for me, the Corbeaus seem like the best fit. They're the best style, have the best features, really best fit for the car for me. But there are a bunch of different options you guys have for your aftermarket seats in your Corvette. I'll link a video up here to Toys for Life C5, who did a good video, or started a video series comparing all your different seat options, their pros and cons as well. But for me, for the price of these Corbeau seats, right around $1,000 for both seats with the mounting tracks, these things are phenomenal. And you can see, this is the micro suede material, vinyl on the high wear areas, with adequate bolstering to allow you to get in and out of the car, as well as actually drive the car like it's supposed to be driven. There are some Amazon seat options that are a little bit cheaper. I don't know a lot about them as far as their build quality, their strength, their support in high G, potentially crash scenarios. Corbeau's a very reputable brand. Their A4 seat is probably one of the most popular and most common to go into the C5 Corvette. So that's something I would highly recommend over the factory seats especially. Numbers 3 and 4 are going to be related on this list, and they have to do with the actual shifting of the car. So from the factory, this car has a CAGS system, or computer-aided gear selection. And what that means is, to maintain their efficiency EPA numbers, there's a system that on low load, low acceleration, from a stop in first gear, it locks out second and third gear, forcing you to shift directly from first to fourth. That's not ideal for a lot of people and a lot of scenarios. Obviously, if you stomp the gas pedal, it unlocks that, but why should the car decide that? Why shouldn't you decide that? I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description. There are dummy plugs you can put in the CAGS system, CAGS plug back in the transmission. Very easy to get to from the outside of the car, very inexpensive, easy to do yourself. And it basically takes over that system, so your car doesn't throw any error lights, but it no longer forces you out of gears. You are free to make the choice of what gear you want to be in under what circumstance. That is a huge benefit to a driver's car, letting the driver choose what gear they want to be in. Once you're free to choose what gear you want to be in, the next thing you need is a short throw shifter. This shifter is from Fidanza. It was $80 for this kit. And the throw is just super fast, perhaps a bit notchy, but the throw is much shorter, it's super fast, and compared to the factory shifter, there is no comparison. There are a bunch of different brands out there that are varying in price. Some of them definitely have better build quality than this one, but for something that you can get into as low as 80 bucks, this is an absolute must-have for any manual transmission car out there. Short throw shifters really make this car come alive. And the number 5 thing on my list of must-do mods for the C5 Corvette, headlight upgrades. These are just LED bulbs in the factory housings for both headlights, high beams, low beams, and fog lights. They're from Hikari. I'll go ahead and leave a link to those down in the description as well. These things are awesome. There's a bunch of different options you have for upgrades to this C5 Corvette. Just know the factory halogen bulbs are just not adequate. For a car that sits this low, that's 20 years old, halogens really date this car and are frankly unsafe to see at the distances that this car can travel, you know, given these speeds. Some sort of lighting upgrade is absolutely necessary. The Hikari upgrades I did are very cost effective. It was less than $100 for everything you see here. They don't dim when you come to idle. They don't change brightness as you're driving. They're just consistent, and they give you a whole lot more light down road than the factory halogens did. Hopefully we'll be doing some other upgrades soon to the headlights. There are lots of other options here. Just know you have to do something to the headlights on these cars. The factory halogens are not safe to drive. Well guys, this is not meant to be a full list of all the mods I've done to my C5 Corvette. Obviously there are several more that didn't make it to this list. Just know these are absolutely what I believe are the top 5 mods done to this car. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you guys have done any of these mods or found any others that you think are more useful, feel free to let me know down below. I'd love to hear about it. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe for future content. It really does help us out here. As always, we appreciate you watching 4K Motoring. I'm Chris, and we'll be back soon.